Hello out to all you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you very much for lending me your time and your ear listening into another 3DS Game Ideas video. And this time I'm going to be talking about one that I've been thinking about since like the Game Boy Advance when the game was actually supposed to happen. Thank you, Capcom, for canceling so many Mega Man games. Thank you so very much. All that wasted money and resource and development, you guys all over it. But I'm not here to dwell on the things that they have done that pissed me off. I'm here to talk about something that I think that they could do right now. Like literally right now, they could put this together and it would be awesome and people would fucking they'd be all over it. Now, while I'm gonna do this video a little bit differently where I just usually talk about my ideas, there was an article that was posted about 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago, about the very thing I've been thinking about, and that's to have a Mega Man Mania game. And this idea came about like this article was written in like the early life of the 3DS, and me looking at things now, and I'm looking at this article. It's on the Mega Man the Mega Man network, the network. It's a blog post basically. I'll put that down in the link in the description. I'm just going to hit a few points that they put in here that I think were good ideas, but I'm also going to tweak a couple of them because some things will give like super advantages early on playing the game, and it could kind of ruin the fun of the challenge of the game. And the Mega Man games have always, at least to me, they've been about the challenge that they give you. Um, Originally, Mega Man Mania, which was at one point also called Mega Man Anniversary Collection, it was supposed to be a collection of all of the Game Boy Mega Man games, like a collection of all of the classic series Mega Man games. So you had Mega Man 2, 3, 4, and 5. The first four games like use a lot of resources from the NES Mega Man games. Um, the fifth one didn't so much, at least as far as I've read. I've only actually played the first one, and that's the one I still have. Like the other ones are tough as like all of them are hard to find at a decent price. You can find them, but you're probably gonna pay a lot for them. Is just what I'm saying. Um, but they were supposed to put all those games back together and on the Game Boy Advance and add color to them, which is what they were going to do. Um, and that just unfortunately didn't happen. I think is because something with Capcom having lost the source files or something to that, something of something similar to that. And I kind of wonder, like, you guys don't have any archives whatsoever, or at least of the games themselves. You have to have the ROM files because all these games, or a lot of them, are on the 3DS on the eShop as the actual game from the Game Boy. And I'm looking at like, you mean to tell me none of you could play these games back over and rebuild them? Like, like you couldn't do that? Like that irritates me. But this this article I ended up finding this because I was when I was looking for the images to put together for the the thumbnail. Like I clicked on one of them because I saw what it I saw the title of it, so I clicked on it and then that drew me to the article. Um, but the overall premise again is just a pitch for Mega Man Mania, the Game Boy collection. Um, like, and I like the mock-ups that they got on here, like with the updated artwork. I think that would be awesome. Like have updated artwork, open up the space a bit for the stages. Some it doesn't have to be a huge, gigantic amount of open space, but just enough to allow Mega Man to move a little bit more freely. Because honestly, on the Game Boy, the space is really cramped up, and that's because they had to have it super zoomed in. So with 3DS having much larger resolution, and they're going, if they were to go with a style similar to what is presented in the pictures, they could open up a little bit of space, which would really be very welcome for it, and like give Mega Man a higher jump, make him move a little faster, but open up the space so it doesn't feel so confined. Um, One of the things that they proposed is that you be able to stack your weapons. So, like, as you beat games in it, you get to keep those weapons and carry them into the next game. And to me, that doing that super early on is a no. That's no. What I would do is once when you first play each game, you're only able to use the weapons within that game. And I would have it so that you unlock the games as you beat them. So if you have to beat the first one to play the second one. You have to beat the second to play the third, and so on and so forth. And literally, I wouldn't want it all shoved into one all at once. Now, and after you beat the fifth game, I would do something very similar to Mega Man Wily Wars on the Mega Drive, because it never came out on the Sega Genesis. It was never localized to America, so it was just a Mega Drive game. Um, After you beat all of these games, and you've beaten, like, you literally have finished all of them off, I would unlock two different modes. One, like, kind of similar to Mega Man 9 and 10, where you got the endless rooms and you're just running around different platforms. Like, I'd unlock that. Actually, three different modes. I'd have that unlocked. Um, another another mode unlocked, calling it Mega Man World, um, where you would literally be playing all of the stages interconnected as one big fortress, and make it play kind of like Metroid does, like, but you're still playing Mega Man. Like, you start off in one point, and you'll go to different points, and this is where this would be really interesting, where you're literally playing through and beating all of the bosses. They all have their own stage. Any of them that were featured in an NES game would have something similar to their NES version of their stage, and the others you just have to create something kind of new for them. But again, all of these stages are interconnected to make one super huge ass fortress. And once you beat all of the robot masters and all of the Mega Man killers and all the other special little ones that Wily made in between, you'd have to go back down to the bottom of this huge ass fucking base and take him on at the very bottom of it, like literally down at the bottom. But you're collecting the enemy's weapons along the way, and you'll need certain weapons in order to reach one, certain rooms, and two, to be able to get to certain items. Like, and I'd also give it the effect of Mega Man X, where you start off with a smaller energy bar and you pick up like heart containers. Like, I would do some shit like that. That, like, you'll get to a maximum height, and then it'll start refilling, like kind of like what Mega Man Zero did. If you use the Cyber L's enough, you could increase your maximum amount of health, which again would be nice. And as you're playing through the game, the boss's health increases also as well, which I guess that would be more like Mega Man X5 and 6, where the more bosses you take on, the higher their health is. So I'd say it increase at like a 2 to 3% interval for each boss. If anybody's following me, each boss would have this much more health than the last one, and it doesn't matter what order you take them on in, relative to the areas that are accessible to you. Um, Gosh, that would be super complicated, but it would be so damn fun. Um, so in this mode, you're taking on all the bosses. And in this mode, I would allow you to perpetually have each weapon, and you just have to use the touch screen or one of the shoulder buttons, or touch screen or the shoulder buttons, to swap between your weapons really quickly. Um, Oh no 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 no! Take that back. After beating the first five, and that would still be there. After beating the first five games, I would go ahead and then incorporate the Game Gear Mega Man and put it on there as Mega Man G.I.G, Mega Man Game Gear. And again, done in the exact same art style as all the other ones with the fresh layout and everything. That way you have a collection of the six handheld classic Mega Man games. And I completely forgot about that one. Even though that one has it starts off like it's the first Mega Man game, but it's not. It's just like a weird mesh of all of like the first four NES Mega Man games. But I would add that one in there with all the special features and any characters that didn't end up in the well, they would all be the same characters as what was in the Game Gear one. I was going to say GameCube one, in the Game Gear Mega Man game. Then after beating that, Mega Man World and the Endless Room mode and the other one I have yet to talk about would all open up for you to be able to use them. Playing through Mega Man World, you'll fight every boss, literally every boss that you fought from the other six games that are a part of this. And I know this sounds like this is a really cramped ass fucking game on a little cart, but you also have to think about all these games were like, in comparison to your standard 3DS game now, is like that. As far as file size, it's like that in comparison. Um, Even with updated visuals and stuff, like they can still make it small enough, especially if they compress it right. Uh, beating Mega Man World would then open up the ability to have all of the weapons for any of the Mega Man games. So like all of the enemy weapons for any of the Mega Man games. It will allow you to enable that type of cheat, so that you can go back and play those games and use weapons from Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 1 or Mega Man 4 and Mega Man 3 and like stuff like that, where you could just have the different weapons all over the fucking place and see what boss weapons from earlier games would beat bosses in later games and vice versa. But like that would be, to me, that would be interesting as fuck to do something like that. But I wouldn't want it to be perpetual from the beginning to the end. No, no, you have to literally play this game, like spend a good amount of time getting to know this game in order to utilize these different things together. And I'd also set it up so that certain weapons, when you're playing with them, like use them in different Mega Man games, will allow you to find places that weren't there in the original, that like wouldn't be available to you without those weapons. That was a mouthful. The last thing I would unlock, which I'm still in this for Mega Man Power Battle, would be a mode to make your own stages, like where you build your own stages, and you can put whatever boss you want at the end of that particular stage, and you can also set it up to have limitations on what weapons would be available. No more than eight, like no more than eight, but you can pull from any of the weapons that are in the Mega Man games. Like so, you could have Mega Man have all ice weapons if you wanted to, or you can have him have all fire weapons if you wanted to, or all like just depending on who the whoever's making it. Like you can have him have all of one particular type of weapon if you wanted to, and that would be available to whoever's playing. Like, and then whatever I'd say allow up to like three bosses and have the stage be continuous. So you could have like three bosses. Whoever's putting these levels together could give you three bosses to take on, and you can have whatever weapons they whatever weapons they set up to have available for Mega Man to use. And on top of that, in order like and this would be something because I want it to be shared online. If you can't complete your level, it cannot be posted. Like so, we're not gonna have the situation where people would put up levels on Power Battle on PSP online where it's just one vanishing platform and then you die because there's nowhere you can go. You just fall to your death. Nah, no bullshit like that. None. Now, if you want to make some hard Mega Man levels, cool, go for it. But outside of that, nah, bruh, I ain't for that shit. I'm fine with challenging levels. I'm fine with shit being difficult, but I'm not gonna have super troll level 34 and shit where you're walking to a pit and die. Like all there is you're just dodging death traps until you die. They're like, no, nah, not fun, not interesting. No, wouldn't do that shit. Um, but I think that's a lot of shit crammed into one game. But it would like if Capcom did some shit like this, like what I'm describing, that shit would fly off the fucking shelves. It would fly off the shelves in a heartbeat, and I know it would. I know it will because I know how fucking strong the Mega Man fan base is. Like you think Sonic has rabid fans? Check Mega Man's fan base. That yes, they would. The second something like this was announced, people would be ready to pre-order that shit. They'd be like, okay, here's my $70 for the special edition already. You don't even have to ask me. I have it. It's there. I'll take money out of my rent today to put this money down for this game, and people would do it. Like, that's how strong the Mega Man fan base is. But that's it for me. If you guys have any other thoughts or ideas that you think might like be cool to incorporate in something like this, go ahead, drop them down in the comment section below. But like I said, this is all stuff that I was thinking about and things that I think would be really cool. I'm like, and check that article out. I'm serious. Like, I mean that blog post. It's not an article. It's a blog post. Check the blog post out. It's several years old, but what they're saying for the most part is on point. Like I think that's actually like is on point, and I think it would be really fucking awesome if this happened. Doubt Capcom would do it, but if it was done, it would be fucking amazing. I can tell you that much. Hell, they could put this game out for a higher price than the normal 3DS game. The normal full price 3DS game is like $40. They could put this out for 50, and people would buy. No complaints. People would buy it. like you mean to tell me I'm getting like 7 Mega Man games all together, and I'll have an endless mode, and I'll also have a stage creation mode, and those two things add a high level of replay value, as well as a cheat that would allow you to take weapons back and forth to games that they don't actually belong in. $50, I think, would work. But yeah, I'm finished. Thank you guys very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears up for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games. Peace out. Oh, and happy Thanksgiving.